Hello everyone. In this video I'll be translating and, summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Moeed Pirzada to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Moeed Pirzada's words. I have several interesting developments related to Pakistan in front of me. But perhaps the most interesting development is where you see that the Pakistani military's large engineering organization, the Frontier Works Organization, or FWO, which is responsible for construction and engineering, has signed a $500 million MOU with a relatively unknown American company, United States Strategic Metals, or USSM. This is a very significant national institution in Pakistan. Under this MOU, USSM will invest $500 million in the exploration of rare earth metals in Pakistan. But that's not all. Within the same 24 hours, you also hear that another major military institution of Pakistan, the National Logistics Cell, or NLC, which is located near GHQ and their offices and buildings are found in close proximity, has signed another MOU with a European company specializing in logistics, which has substantial Chinese investment. Both of these news stories are heard at a time when the United States is starting its day, and the US House of Representatives, or Congress, is about to finalize amendments to the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA. The Pakistani-American community has proposed a very important amendment, Amendment 492, sponsored by Congressmen Jim McGovern and Wilson, which says that Pakistan's military aid under the International Military Education and Training Programme, or IMET, should be conditional on certification by the state and defence departments that human rights are being upheld in Pakistan, that the rule of law is maintained, and that military trials of civilians are not taking place. So what is all this about? I will try to explain it as much as I can. According to Pakistan's English newspapers like Dawn, it has been disclosed how the Frontier Works Organization, or FWO, and the National Logistics Cell, known as NLC, have signed these memorandums of understanding. First, let's look at the $500 million MOU signed between FWO and United States Strategic Metals, which mentions rare earth metals such as copper, nickel, and cobalt. However, the names of the metals are not as important as the political significance of this development, which we will analyze. NLC has also signed an MOU with a Portuguese company, Motor Elgin, which is listed on the Euronext stock exchange. The revenue of this company is in the billions of euros, and their latest publicly reported revenue is around $123 million. So this company is a reasonably established player in its field. However, what's interesting here is the contrasting scenario with the American company, United States Strategic Metals, which is not publicly listed, has no financial disclosures and no significant past achievements to show. The company claims to have raised substantial capital in various rounds, but it remains unclear how much of this is actually realized. Now let's talk about the relevance of this investment. This company, United States Strategic Metals, is involved in extracting metals like lithium for batteries, but its exact history and achievements remain unknown. In contrast, the Portuguese company, Motor Elgin, which signed the MOU with NLC, is much more established. The business line of Motor Elgin and NLC align more clearly as both companies are involved in construction, logistics, and trucking. The key here is that Motor Elgin is supported by substantial Chinese investment. The Chinese Communications Construction Company, or CCCC, has around 32 to 33% shares in Motor Elgin. So, within the same 24-hour period, Pakistan has signed MOUs with both an American company, United States Strategic Metals, and a Chinese-supported company, Motor Elgin, both through military-related organizations like FWO and NLC. What does this mean? It means that General Asim Munir and others, when speaking to the Pakistani community, mentioned the need to maintain a balance between the United States and China. This is a political balancing act not necessarily based on Pakistan's national interests. It's an attempt to engage both America and China at the same time, obliging both sides, even though there is no clear focus on Pakistan's national interest. In countries like India and the United States, decisions are often made based on national interest. But in a dictatorship, the ruling elite's interests take precedence. This is the difference between a functional democracy and a dictatorship. In Pakistan, this appears to be political leveraging, with influence being spent in both Washington and Beijing. This has happened at a time when the United States House of Representatives is finalizing amendments to the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, which may include a major amendment from the Pakistani-American community. The amendments that are important are related to the approval of the National Defence Authorization Act, or NDA. Hundreds of amendments have been proposed. One of these amendments, which has been heavily emphasised by the Pakistani community, is Amendment 492. Congressman Jim McGovern, who is the chairperson of the Lantos Commission, has proposed this amendment. I have mentioned him several times in the past and shown the hearings related to him. This amendment has been co-sponsored and supported by Republican Wilson, in addition to Jim McGovern, who is a Democrat. This makes Amendment 492 into a bipartisan amendment within the NDA. In this regard, Malika Sandani, who runs a significant Pakistani community function, has recorded a passionate video message for the entire Pakistani community and for the American Rules Committee in the House. This message is available on Twitter, and I have shared it from there with my own comments. You can check it there. Now, what's the issue with this amendment? This amendment does not say that the intention is to halt the International Military Education and Training Framework, which is a cooperative framework between the United States Pentagon, the United States Department of Defense, and the Pakistani military. Some people might think this is an attempt to stop it, but that's absolutely not the case. What this amendment says is that the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense must certify before Congress each year that if they are providing assistance to Pakistan, they must confirm that they have taken necessary steps. They must certify before Congress that human rights violations are no longer happening in Pakistan, that the rule of law is being supported, and that civilians are not being tried in military courts. Now, once again, things are not as clear as they seem. I see that people often don't understand the details when a process and its details are revealed. The Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense can easily appear before Congress and say that over the past 3, 6 or 9 months, they have developed a working relationship with the government of Pakistan. They are in touch with them and have received assurances that the situation of the rule of law in Pakistan will improve. Pakistan has asked for 3 or 6 months, or they may say that free, fair and transparent elections will be held within a year. Or they might claim that civilian trials will not happen and civilians will not be arrested. However, it's not always black and white. It's not about just saying no, 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 in the way people generally understand it in Pakistan. They are essentially required to give Congress basic assurances that they are engaging with Pakistan on these matters. But given the current situation in Pakistan, the American administration would never want this sword of Damocles hanging over their heads. The American Secretary of State and the American Secretary of Defense would face enormous difficulty in telling Congress that they are engaging with Pakistan's military, and that Pakistan's military has made them aware of the improvements. This is the significance of Amendment 492. A decision on this will be made in the next 24, 36 or 48 hours in the United States. Just at the time this decision is being made, news comes that a United States company, United States Strategic Metals Company, has signed a $500 million Memorandum of Understanding with Pakistan's military organization, FWO. I believe I have reasonably explained this, and many of you may take the initiative to research what this actually means. Now let's take a look at social media. The day was supposed to end with Pakistan's media focusing on Balochistan, where 6 political parties of Balochistan in opposition gave a message through Mahmood Khan Achakzai, who is the founder of the Pashtunkhwa Milli Awami Party and currently leads the Tehreek-e-Tahaffuz-e-Pakistan, supported by Imran Khan. Along with Jamaat-e-Islami, the National Party, and Balochistan National Party, they held a strike and shutdown across Balochistan. The reports I have suggest that the strike was a massive success, but Pakistani media has hardly reported it. If you look at Pakistan's mainstream media and social media, especially where anchors close to Maryam Nawaz are present, there is no mention of Balochistan. Instead, the focus is on Alia Khan and Naeem Panchoda, claiming that they plotted something, and a journalist from Pakistan's Supreme Court Bar Press Association, Tayyab Balokh, was beaten and tortured. There's a lot of discussion on this, but very little on Balochistan. The issue of Alia Khan's corruption is being heavily discussed, but you won't find detailed coverage of the Balochistan issue. In this context, I spoke to Ahmed Noorani, who was quoted by Jungjiao News regarding the allegations of Alia Khan's corruption. He told me that he himself was surprised that such a big issue had come up suddenly. He had only reported on a company that approached Alia Khan in 2018, where she had an investment worth over $1 million. Apart from that, he didn't say anything specific. If there were a real scandal, it would have come to light much earlier, considering how much scrutiny and due diligence the Shaukat Khanum Cancer Hospital has undergone. If there were any substantial wrongdoing or money laundering involved, it would have been exposed long ago. The fact that this issue is only coming up now has little to do with Alia Khan's corruption. I believe it's an attempt to create a distraction from Imran Khan's cases, which have gained much media attention. This controversy around Alia Khan seems to be engineered at a time when Imran Khan's hearings are ongoing. Some government ministers and political figures, including Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, have taken positions on this, making it clear that this controversy was engineered to distract from the real issues and to shift focus away from Balochistan. Now moving forward, there's news that Pakistan's Chief Justice Yahya Afridi has passed the new Supreme Court rules and procedures for 2025. These rules were not in line with established convention, and senior judges like Mansoor Ali Shah, Aisha Malik, Munib Akhtar and Athar bin Allah have written an open letter criticizing these changes. They believe that these rules are against the law, against conventions and violate due process. They've raised serious objections to the manner in which these rules were passed and the fact that a full court meeting was held after the rules were already created and notified. What's the takeaway from this? The issue of seniority among judges in Pakistan has been long established since 1996, but Chief Justice Afridi violated this principle. This is how institutions are destroyed, by violating long-standing conventions. Moving forward, I want to discuss the Israeli Air Force's ongoing operations over Tunisia and Malta. The purpose is to intimidate and harass the flotilla that was travelling from Barcelona to the Mediterranean. This flotilla is now heading towards Gaza to lift the siege. The next few days will be critical for this mission, as previous European attempts to lift the Gaza siege were unsuccessful. This is happening in September, just before the United Nations General Assembly session, where many countries, including France, the UK, Ireland, Spain and Norway, are expected to take positions on Israel and Palestine. France, for instance, has seen a crisis with the resignation of its Prime Minister due to pressure over President Macron's stance on the Israeli issue. The world's most powerful lobby might be behind this crisis engineered for French President Emmanuel Macron, but this won't be discussed openly in the media. This is the kind of political crisis being manufactured, with media attention diverted from significant global issues to engineered controversies. More on this later. That wraps up our translation of Moeed Pirzada's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.